everyone. Welcome back. This is our Halloween special, and it's going to get very scary. Wait for it. I'm Jules Hilliard, the CEO of Secure Block Tech, and you are joining us for round two with our team of usual suspects. That's right. Based on popular demand, we are doing our very first impromptu part two. Brace yourself for another round of an intellectually stimulating deep dive into the underbelly of blockchain technology. But before we jump in with the good stuff, who are we? Secure Block Tech is the first to market with an enterprise-grade BOC, or Blockchain Operations Center. You've heard of a NOC, and you've heard of a SOC. Ladies and gentlemen, we're bringing you the trifecta of technologies with our revolutionary command center, which we have named Overwatch. Enterprise-grade monitoring, analytics, security, and validation for all of your chains and dApps from one single pane of glass. For all of you developers and dev teams out there, don't fret, we are launching a pay-as-you-go option, currently being deployed on AWS, and Google is next. With Overwatch, you can fix your blockchain DevOps dilemma, which we have now named DevChain Ops. DevChain Ops is a set of practices that combines blockchain development and IT operations. Please visit secureblocktech.com for more info. Now to the good stuff. HyperConvergence, AI, blockchain, and cybersecurity, part two. Today, we're going to keep it rolling with first, trust. Second, we'll jump in with controls. And then we're going to finish with our Halloween scare. Is it the end of the world as we know it? Stay tuned to find out. Joining me today, of course, our usual suspects, our very own Dr. Evil, Mr. John Hooks, our CAIO, and the artist formerly known as my evil twin, Mr. Joel Semangan, our CISO. Welcome, Joel.
Hello, good morning.
Hi, buddy. Welcome, John.
Hello, Jules.
Stop it, you're scaring everybody. Grateful to have you all back. We have a lot to talk about today, so let's jump in. Trust is the topic we are going to start with. John, last week we talked about how blockchain, AI, and hyperconvergence, or HCI as it's known, will converge to enrich the enterprise. How will trust in the outcome using this technology be different from what is out there today?
Well, Jules, as you well know, blockchain and AI are on just about every CIO's watch list of game-changing technologies that stand to reshape industries. Both technologies come with immense benefits, but both also bring their own challenges for adoption. It's also fair to say that the hype surrounding these technologies individually may be unprecedented, so the thought of bringing these two ingredients together may be viewed by some as brewing a modern-day version of IT pixie dust. At the same time, there is a logical way to think about this mashup, not monster mashup, that is both sensible and pragmatic. Today, AI is, for all intents and purposes, a centralized process. An end user must have extreme faith in a central authority to produce a trusted business outcome. By decentralizing the three key elements of AI, that is data, models, and analytics, blockchain can deliver the trust and confidence often needed for end users to fully adopt and rely on AI-based business processes. Clearly, blockchain is poised to enrich AI by being trust, the data, models, and analytics. Jules?
Yes, sir. No, that was good stuff. Thank you for that. Joel, let's take a little turn here and talk about this from a security perspective. How do you see HCI, blockchain, and AI impact, or how it's going to impact business organizations?
Right, thanks, Jules. Before I answer the question, let's have a quick recap of blockchain's inherent security features. Blockchain, as we know now, that blockchain records are immutable. Once the records are validated and recorded on the chain, they're basically unalterable because the embedded metadata are tied to the transaction. It cannot be separated, lost, or altered. The user integrity is verified with asymmetric cryptography via digital signatures and transactions. which are also added to the blockchain. And lastly, there's also full transparency of transactions which are visible and auditable to all trusted users in the blockchain network. Now, we now know that HCI basically consists of fully virtualized servers, storage, and networks that basically enhances an organization's enterprise IT. And having an AI-enabled HCI will basically greatly elevate these benefits. Let me talk about that benefits. So it will be less complex and more efficient. Data storage is dynamically reconfigured, optimized, and automated. And with evolving technologies, VMs, APIs, and AI have basically evolved with the paradigm shifting towards more decision-making processes and data-driven automated services. And then now with blockchain, ACI with AI will basically give an organization the ability to dynamically reconcile the merging of two or more blockchain networks. Jules?
Good stuff. Yeah, no, good stuff. And thank you for that. Let's transition here. It's good stuff on trust. Let's talk a little bit about, let's move into our second segment, talk a little bit about controls. John, back to you, my friend. How can a business provide assurance to its users that its AI has not overstepped its bounds?
Well, Jules, that's a great question. As you know, many of the world's most notable AI technology services are currently centralized, including Amazon, Apple, Facebook, Google, as well as Chinese companies Alibaba, Baidu, and Tencent. Yet all have encountered challenges in establishing trust among their eager but somewhat cautious users. Imagine if these AI services could produce a forensic report via blockchain monitoring system verified by a third party to prove to you, the user, beyond a reasonable doubt, how and when the businesses are using your data once those are ingested. Imagine further that your data could be used only if you gave permission to do so. For example, a blockchain ledger can be used as a digital rights management system, allowing your data to be licensed, quote unquote, to the AI provider under your terms, conditions, and duration. The ledger could act as an access management system, storing the proofs and permissions by which a business can access and use the user's data. That would provide assurance on the part of the user that they have not overstepped its bounds in the use of your data within the models and in the output. Jules?
Definitely. Makes sense. Joel, as a follow-up to John, how do you see HCI affecting an organization's data center and how security is currently implemented?
Good question, Jules. If you may remember what Dan, our guest, stated during last week's session, Hyper-Converged Infrastructure enables software-defined data centers, and its security basically involves a policy-based approach that blends security with applications instead of using the traditional network-based security approach. Traditionally, data centers use separate compute, storage, and networking infrastructure. With HCI, all three are collapsed into a single foundation that also consolidates virtualization, management, and data services. Now, having said this, HCI's unified all-in-one design moves us away from the network-based security model, and instead, it allows application-based security policies to work with each other across the network environments. And the use of traditional firewalls to protect users and workloads from being compromised will not work for HCI. And this approach is not scalable with the addition of more endpoints, since it will lead to performance issues as the infrastructure continues to grow. But overall, I see this as a positive giant leap in securing legacy data center infrastructures for a vastly large amount of organizations out there.
No, I definitely agree with you there, and thank you for that. But I must admit, This all sounds a little George Orwell kind of stuff here. Circa 1984. For those of you that were around, I know you two were. Now, John, this is our Halloween podcast, or should I call you by your real name, Dr. Evil? So let's go full Terminator, and let's talk a little bit about Skynet. Will the convergence of blockchain, AI, and cloud-based hyperconvergence eliminate the need for a human in the loop?
Well, we know that massive amounts of data are being produced every second. More data than humans have the ability to assess and use as the basis for drawing conclusions. However, AI applications are capable of assessing large data sets and many variables while learning about or connecting those variables relevant to its tasks and objectives. And for this very reason, AI continues to be adopted in various industries and applications, and we are relying more and more on their outcomes. Blockchain can help clarify the provenance, transparency, understanding, and explanations of those outcomes and decisions. If decisions and associated data points are recorded via transactions on the blockchain, the inherent attributes of blockchain will make auditing them much simpler. Blockchain is a key technology that brings trust to transactions in a network, as Joel mentioned. Therefore, infusing blockchain into AI decision-making processes could be the element needed to achieve the transparency necessary to fully trust the decisions and outcomes derived from AI. It's essential, however, that any decisions made by AI are still verified by humans for accuracy. Let me just give you a use case or a personal perspective on it. I picked my doctor because my doctor has a thing for technology, just like me. And so my doctor does not disappoint in that regard. She has a new AI doctor's assistant that is expertly trained, having ingested millions of medical periodicals to date. It would not be humanly possible for my doctor to keep up with all the latest medical breakthroughs given her busy schedule. So during my last checkup, I complained about the doctor, with advice from AI Doc, prescribed me Big Pharma's back pain relief capsules. The AI Doc also noticed my blood pressure has been trending slightly higher over the past year, and also advises my doctor to prescribe me Big Pharma's hypertension pills. Okay, at this point, I start to wonder who provided the training data for the neural network to train the AI Doc. Could it have been Big Pharma? If they were able to be the sole providers of the training data, I would be skeptical about the objectivity of AI Doc. Mm-hmm. How can you, and why should you, trust data from this or any other AI bot without knowing the provenance and authenticity of the training data? So there is a real life example of how this AI technology can be used in a, let's call it a scary way, so that Dr. Good advice becomes Dr. Frankenstein, and we all don't want that, even on Halloween Eve. Jules?
Dr. Skynet, make sure you choose the right doctor. But no, absolutely, and for all of us that have needed medical attention through the years, we're seeing a great improvement in how the process is working and the efficiency, which I think is going to benefit everybody. And hopefully that, as it does evolve, we'll find that healthy balance between technology, AI, and of course the human touch. Looks like we need to wrap it up. And, I want to thank you both for taking some time here, Halloween weekend. Another great, insightful session with a lot to think about and a lot of research that can be done from our listeners. John, thank you for your insight today.
Thank you for a beautiful podcast.
Absolutely. And Joel, my friend, thank you so much.
Thanks. It's it's always fun doing this, and I really appreciate the time.
Great, great. And as always, we hope that you, the audience, found this podcast interesting and informative. Please join us next week as we continue to build the bridge between blockchain technology and the enterprise. As always, you can learn more and/or contact us at secureblocktech.com. Have a great spooky weekend, a great week, and please reach out with any and all feedback, questions, or desire to join the blockchain revolution. You guys have a good one.
Cheers.
Take care.